starting discussion on this topic, I would like to give a brief intro about myself. I'm CS Divesh Kaul, fellow member of Company Secretary Institute. I have my own practice in Delhi. I am regular researcher on the company law and the allied matters, and I am taking the session all over India on the company law matters. I'm writing the many books on the company law and the articles on the company law. So let's start with our today's topic, that is structure of the PCS firm and their area of work and how to serve the client. These are the three basic and main things to establish a practice. As we know, as we are the member of the, as we are the student of the company secretary, and in future we will be the member of this prestigious institute. So our focus should be that. As as a professional, I have listened this question many times from the students, that how to decide whether we have to go in the practice field or we have to go in the field of the job. This is a very crucial question because we have to decide our future. The day when we join this institute, this prestigious institute, we have to understand in which field we have to go, whether we have to go in the field of, we can say, practice, or we have to go in the field of job. So this is always a discussion, and this is always a, we can say, a topic of discussion. So today I just want to discuss with all of you on this topic so that all of you will get a clarity for the future in which field you want to go after clearing of your professional exam, after clearing of your training, after clearing the membership of this prestigious institute. So as we know, the company secretaries are working in the two type of structure. One that is relating to the job. The second is relating to the practicing company secretary. If we talk about the job, there are the many fields where we have to work. If we talk about the firms, we have to work on the many things. So the main thing, in which field, which things we have to work in the as a practicing company secretary. So the practicing company secretary is the designation given by the institute to a company secretary. The most important thing for this word practicing company secretary is that only a company secretary can only be a practicing company secretary as per the Indian law, as per the Company Secretary Act. So we can say we are the privileged person who can be the practicing company secretaries, because in our profession, in our institute, we are divided into two divisions. One, which we are in the working field, like we are in the key manager personnel, like the company secretary of the company. Second, as a practicing company secretary. The structure of the company secretary in job and company secretary in practices are totally different, because the company secretary is a practice as well as a business. We can say it is a profession for a person. How it is a how it is a separate thing, because under job, under a company, when you are working in a company, you have to see the compliance of only that company. Your work is restricted up to that company only. But when you become a practicing company secretary and start working as a practicing company secretary, you have to focus on the lot of things. Like you don't have to work for a single client. You have to work of the multiple client. You can say 100 or 1,000 companies you have to work when you become a practicing company secretary. So definitely there are a lot of challenges to become a practicing company secretary and to establish a firm as a practicing company secretary. Along with that, there's a lot of the opportunities. How we can say, what are the challenges are there to become a practicing company secretary? What are the challenges in that? As I'm saying, there are a lot of challenges to become a practicing company secretary. Challenge, why I'm saying, because there in the practicing company secretary, we have to establish everything. In case of company, we are getting a setup, we have to work in that setup. But once we start our own practice, we have to establish a new setup. We have to establish a new business. So first, let's discuss what are the personality and attitude to be a practicing company secretary. The first thing, or first attitude I would like to say in a practicing company secretary should be submissive. The person should be submissive. Means, what is the meaning of submissive from the point of view of the practice? You should be very polite and possessive quality of being empathic. So you should be polite with your client. You should be polite with your colleagues. You should be polite with when you are dealing with any authorities. Because as a company secretary, you have to deal with many authorities. You have to deal many type of clients in this profession. So the first attitude in a person should be submissive. And second, and the most important thing which I personally suggest is a dedicated. You should be committed towards your assignments given by your clients, given by your colleagues, given by your friends. And before starting that assignment, you should do a proper due diligence. Sometimes we feel if we are doing a due diligence of small work, we are wasting our time. I must like to say there is nothing like wasting of time in practice, because whatever you are doing in a practice, you will earn something, you will learn something from that. So you must be dedicated toward your work. As I said in starting, I have written a lot of article on the Companies Act. What, why I have written so lot of articles? Because that is my dedication toward this profession. That is my dedication toward work as a company secretary. Because as a company secretary, we know on the regular basis there are the amendments in law. We have to understand that amendment. We have to interpret that amendment. Then only we can work for a client. So we should have a proper level of dedication to become a practicing company secretary. Definitely it's not a easier job to be a practicing company secretary, but with our dedication, with our hard work, definitely we can achieve that target of a practicing company secretary. Why I'm using this word again and again? Because after this session I want to all of you should be clear about perspectives of a practicing company secretary, and you should be clear about the challenges and the opportunities in life of a person who is a practicing company secretary. And the third attitude in person should be the problem solver. Because once we start for the multiple companies, multiple clients, many type of problem we will face in our life. Some cases it may be the situation like we have to work on a single section, but situation are different. Situation for client one is a different situation, for client two is a different. So at that time we have to work as a problem solver. At that time you should have adequate command over the subject, as well as you should possess the quality of interpretation of law in such a manner that query can be resolved. As I discussed in the last point in the dedication also, that we should be dedicated to our work. Now I will take 5 to 7 minutes to discussion on this single point about hard work, about problem solver, or about the interpretation of law. We are the company secretaries. We have chosen this profession from our heart, from our mind. So now we have to give our life dedicated toward this profession. How we can dedicate it toward this profession? First, once we start to enter into this profession, we passes the foundation level, executive level, professional level. Then we passes the different type of training. Then we become a company secretary. To become a company secretary, we read almost 25 to 30 laws to get a degree, become a company secretary. But that is not enough. Even we become a company secretary, even after that, throughout the life, we have to study on the different things. Because reason number one for study, there are regular amendment under corporate laws due to change in the scenario, industrial scenario, due to difficulties in laws to the corporate, due to progress of the country, due to progress of the corporate, and many other factors are there, due to which there are a lot of amendments are under the law. So first we have to study those amendments on the regular basis to become a good company secretary, whether it is a practicing company secretary or company secretary job. I will suggest to all of you, you should be dedicated and you should understand the law and read the law on the regular basis. Whatever amendment are there in law, whether it is related to you or whether it is not related to you, you at least have to study that amendment. Once you will study that amendment, then you will get a edge when you are dealing with the client. Because as we know, this is the era of the social media, this is the era of the digitalization. In this era of the digitalization, any information, any amendment, news of any amendment spread like a fire. Whenever there is any amendment, maybe it happened before us, it reaches to the client, then client will directly just give you a call. If this amendment came in the act, what are the impact of those amendments on us? Until unless we have not studied those amendments, until unless we are not aware about those amendments, how we will suggest to our client that what is the impact of this amendment on such specific client? Or not only that client, we have to check the impact of a single amendment in all of our clients, because we are the practicing company secretary, we are working for multiple companies, so we have to check the impact of that amendment on the different client by using their different situations. Second thing, once we are reading the laws on the regular basis, we will start, we can say, we will start retaining the amendment and law in our mind, because many times students have asked to me, sir, how to understand the section, how to learn the section, how to remember the section. I must say, understanding and learning you will do, but how to remember the section? To remember a section, to remember a provision, to remember a law, the only thing you have to do, you have to study it on the regular basis. You have to be very consistent about studying of the law, because once you will study it on the regular basis, I must say you will learn a lot of new things by studying it on the regular basis, and all those things will help you to become a good profession. And once you become a good profession, will give you an edge in the life and will give you a confidence. And the confidence, you can earn the confidence only with the knowledge, and knowledge can be gained only with the reading, only with the consistency. So this is a third attitude as a professional, like a problem solver. Next, I can say risk taker, because once you should have the capability to take the risk during initial step of the practice, that will help you to grow in the future. Because once we start a new practice, there are a lot of challenges with us. For those, for facing those challenges, we may have to take many type of the risks, we may have to face many type of things, but until unless we are not taking the risk, we may or we may not get. There is a saying in the FM, there is a financial management, higher the risk, higher may be the return, but without risk there is no return. So definitely, to gain something in life, we have to take the risk, we have to take the risk to do different things, we have to take the risk to do new things, because as I said, on regular basis there are the amendment in law, so we have to take the risk to learn new things and implement those new things on our clients. So this attitude should be there in a person who want to become a practicing company secretary. Then fifth attitude is a person, the company secretary, we will say a planner. Once you are working with a lot of companies, once you are working with a lot of clients, so you must be a good planner, because you have to plan how you work for which client and which time you will work for which client, how you will manage this thing, because steps should be taken in order to plan the time to devote on each assignment. The staff then should be communicated with the size of the practice also, because it may be happen that we start a practice in the initial stage we are having the 10 client, and the future we are having the thousand of client, but from the very first day of starting of the practice, very first day to start the practice, we should start planning, planner, because as I'm saying again and again, as a practicing company secretary, many clients we are serving, many assignment of that client we are serving. So we should be good planner to assign time to all the work. We cannot say we will assign time to this work, but we will not assign time to this work. Yes, it may be happen कि we are assigning a ample time, good time to a big assignment, or some assignment are taking a lot less time, so you are giving the less time. But at least we have to give the time. At least we have to plan, even whether the work is a small work or whether the work is a large work. But until unless you will not plan, how you will conduct that work? So planning is a very important. In this today's presentation also, I will share my presentation after some minutes with all of you. In that minute presentation, I will show you how we have to plan the work, how we have to manage the work. Because once we become a company secretary, that is easy. Now we have company secretary degree, it is okay. But now how to work with the practicing company secretary, I'm again and again saying definitely it is a very challenging job. I'm not saying it is a very difficult job, but it is a very challenging job. If we are the person, we are the professional who have studied a lot of things to become a company secretary, so I know you all will definitely accept this challenge and work on these things. But for that, we require the guidance. Today, I'm taking this session to give you that guidance, that how to become a practicing company secretary, how to become a good practicing company secretary. So to become a good practicing company secretary, all those things we have to develop in us, because right now we are student, we are learning the things. If we will develop these things in ourselves from the beginning itself, it will help in us in future. Like if from the today onwards we start to plan, how we can a planner at this student age. Right now we are having exams, we can plan for the exams. Like if we are having 6 subjects to study, then we have to first analyze which subject I have to give more time, which subject I have to give less time. First thing, which subject I have a good command, which subject I'm not having a good command, which subject is having a large, we can say, syllabus, or which subject is having less syllabus. First, we have to bifurcate this. On the basis of that, we have to give the time, divert the time on such subject. So this thing will help us to become a good planner in life. Because once we start to to plan in present time all himself, then we can be a good planner in life in future. So planning is the very important, because as a practicing assembly secretary, we have to do lot of type of things. Only the planning can save us and help us to become a good practicing company secretary. Next point, the 6th point I can say as an attitude of a practicing company secretary is a well organized. You should be well organized not only in the terms of handling of assignments, but as well as a maintenance of your official accounts and documentation. As we all are studying the company law, in the company law, many places we have read that company have to maintain this record for the 8 year, company have to maintain this record for the lifetime of the company. Same like a practicing company secretary, you are doing lot of type of work with the companies. So when you are certifying any, giving any certification to the company, as per the company law, as per the guidelines of the institute, you have to maintain many documents for those purpose, like the services you have provided. For an example, you are doing a small audit of the company. For that audit purpose, you will take a lot of documents from the client. And on the basis of those documents, you will give your observation, you will do the audit. So all those observations, all those documents, on the basis of that you have given the observation, those documents should be properly maintained by you. Because in future, if there will be any situation with the client or any situation with the authorities, you must be secure yourself that you have this document. On the basis of that you have done the audit. So the documentation maintenance of the staff is also very important, because as I said, practicing company secretary, we are having our own office, we are having our own practice. And so for that purpose, we should definitely, we must have the staff, we must have office, so we should be a, we can say, well organized with everything. Next attitude we should develop in ourselves is a well vested with the subject. Means you should possess well polished knowledge over the subject. Again and again, repetitively, with every point, I'm coming on the one thing. You should have a good knowledge. How you can have a good knowledge? As we all are studying the laws to become a company secretary, but how we can prove ourselves different from other to become a, you should be a competitive person. You should prove you are different from other. How you will prove that you are different from other? That is only from the good knowledge. How the good knowledge from come? Good knowledge will came from dedication, regular study. We can say by giving time to the work, by giving time to the law, that will help you to learn the good things, that will help you to increase your knowledge. Because as a student, whatever query you are having, you can easily ask to your trainer, you can easily ask to your teacher. But once you become a company secretary or you become a practicing company secretary, then whenever any client asks anything to you, you cannot say you don't know this thing, because it is expected that we know everything. Definitely, sometimes happen we don't know everything, but we know the thing. This should be there, and to know the thing, we should do the hard work to read the law. That will help to polish our knowledge. Next attitude is a decision making. You should have a capability to take decision appropriately and adequately. In the life, many times when we are working, as I'm a practicing secretary, many times when we are working in a firm, many times we have to take many different type of decision for different type of client. So at the time of taking that decision, first thing, we should calm our mind, and we have to focus on the first thing. While taking a decision, first check the law, because whatever decision you are taking, that should not be against the law. Second, you should check the situation of that client, situation of that company. Third, you should find out the ways to do that thing. Fourth, on the basis of all these 3 things, you have to analyze, and then you have to reach on the decision making. You don't have to take the hasty decision in this matter, because as a professional, We have to analyze a lot of things before taking any decision. And decision making, I must say, is a very important in our profession. So we should be very careful while taking any decision in as a professional. Next point, we can say patience. This is the thing we can say is a missing in people's as on day, that is patience. You should not try not to lose your temper on a pretty issues. You should concentrate on major achievement, because there's a good saying, there will not be always a achievement in life. Many times there will be, we can say, failure also, but we have to take that failure as a positive sign. Whenever I discuss this line, I just remember the example of the Mr. Einstein. He has failed 99 times before inventing his inventions, but he said, I am he said, I am saying that I am beneficial by these failures, because by these failures I learned the things that I should not do next time. So as a professional, you may be doing one thing for the 10 clients or 100 clients. If one time you fail in some client assignment, then next time definitely you are aware of what you should not do and what you should do. So the major thing, we should not lose our patience, because many times it's happened, the situation is not going according to us. At that situation, we have to keep calm and we have to be patient. For that purpose, definitely we have to develop ourselves in that manner. Next attitude we should have is a competent. Beside being knowledgeable, you should be an adroit, so that it's easy for you to stand in different unique and influence position in the field. As I was earlier saying, how you are different from others. What make you different from others? Right now, you are the student of this profession. Later on, you become a member. You all become member after some time. But what will make you different from each other? First, and the most important thing, that is your knowledge. Your knowledge is very important thing. Second is your confidence. But how you gain the confidence, how you will have the confidence. So for the confidence, definitely you should have the knowledge. Third, hard work. Hard work is always important in life to achieve anything. Like you are the student right now, you are doing the hard work to clear your exam. Same hard work definitely is required in the future also. So you should be competent in this today's competitive world. So these are the some attitudes which I must say there should be in a person who want to become a practicing company secretary, because these all are the small words. We are listening these words since years, but we have not adopted these words till now. But now we have to adopt these things in life if we want to, if we really want to become a good practicing company secretary in life. Now, after attitude, I would like to discuss on the some, we can say, as a I am having experience of the 7 years as a practicing company secretary. So we are going to discuss some tips for the professionals, some tips for you as you are going to become a future of our profession. So how to become a good professional? For individual professional, the first thing, when you know better, you do better. I always use this phrase, when you know better, you do better. What is the meaning of this word? It is very important to upgrade your knowledge and skills every day in order to get through with daily modification and changing in the outside world. As once we were discussing about the attitude, that time also I said we have to study the law on the regular basis, we have to study the amendment on the regular basis. Now we are adding this phrase. Please keep this phrase in mind. When you know better, you do better. So when you know the law, when you know the law better from other person, you will do better from the other person in the life. And when you will do better, you will definitely gain the confidence in life. So I would like to say, don't remember other words, but remember this phrase. When you do know better, you do better. For this thing, as a company secretary, as I'm also a practicing company secretary, how I build myself? I build myself by the dedication. I build myself with the regular study of law. Whatever amendments are there in the law on the regular basis, you have to study. We manage time for the many things in the life, so we have to manage time for the reading of the amendment in the life also. So this skill will definitely help us to grow big in future. Second thing, I would like to second phrase. There are some phrases I used to build myself, and now I'm using these phrases to build all of you. Hope you will remember these phrases in life to become a big, good practicing company secretary. Be organized. Seek quality over quantity. I have learned this thing in last 7 years. To seek quality over quantity. Many times we are running behind the quantity and we lose our quality. Once we lose our quality, then day by day we will lose our respect. We will lose our knowledge. So we have to focus on the work. I have always learned, and what I have followed in my practice also, over 10 works, I will take one work, but I will serve that work with quality. I will not run behind the 10 works, I have to do all these 10 works, whatever is the mean. No, I will not do this 10 work, but I will do one work, but will do that with proper quality and proper knowledge of law. So always remember this saying, seek quality over quantity. It's not the magnitude of work which is important, but the way you handle the work and develop the faith and good relation with client, that matter. Because if you are having the quantity of work, big quantity of work, but you are not serving them properly, so sooner or later they will leave you and will switch to some other professional. But if you are providing the quality service to them, they will not leave you. There will be a maintenance of the relationship with you with the client. So that will serve you lifelong. So always prefer quality over quantity. And my third saying, our dream does not become reality through magic. As you all are the students of this profession, you are aware that You are aware about this thing. A dream does not become reality through magic. So to fulfill a dream, there will not be any magic. To take sweet determination and hard work, it is very important to work with dedication, commitment, and devotion in order to flourish in the market. As this is the 21st century, this is the we are having a big competitive market in front of us. There's a big competition in market. To go through that competition, to become a good practicing company secretary, there will not be any magic. For that you have to work with for that you have to show your strength, show your hard work. So all these things, I know when I was student and I'm taking the classes, many times I have also felt ki this lecture is what things they are saying, they are making us bored and we are not getting interest in this lecture. But I would like to say these things we will not feel important today in life, but they will be important in future because we have learned these things. I have learned these things in last 7 years, which I am sharing with you. Because as I said, when you know better, you do better. This saying I have applied on myself to reach this level that before 7 years I was sitting in the other side. Before 7 years I was sitting as a student like you, but now I am teaching you. So the thing which make me capable of this is to do better, seek quality over quantity, and definitely we all know to achieve our dream there will not be any magic. We have to work hard. Fourth thing, don't let one bad day stop you from reaching your goals. When you're working on the things, when you are in the profession, when you are a student, because it is a life, there will be some good days, some bad days. Sometimes we we will gain appreciation in any assignment, sometimes we will not gain any appreciation, but we don't have to lose our confidence because one bad day cannot stop you to reach your goal. You have to keep this in mind because I have seen many times due to we are not able to clear the exam. Many students were depressed, they have not cleared the exam. Many times any assignment is not getting done. Our work is not getting done because depressed. We don't have to be because if there is a bad day, definitely there will be a good day also. We have to focus on our hard work, our knowledge, and we don't have to lose our confidence. And the fourth saying, or the fifth saying, it is very important to invest time in existing client because many times we have seen once a person became our client, we stop giving attention to that person and we start giving attention to other persons in market because we want to get more clients. But before getting more clients, first we should have policy to focus on the client which are in our hand, to focus on the client, to retain attention of the client. Because if we get a new client by not focusing on the existing client and our existing client will leave us, then how we will gain the respect, how we will build a relationship. So it is very important to invest in the existing client. They're likely to give you new businesses also, which can lead to advertisement in growth and development. Because it is nothing like that. If we are having a client, that client will not give us a new business. Many times that existing client can also give you a lot of new businesses. But for that, you have to focus on that client. You have to find out the work from his, we can say, we have to find out our assignment from his work. We have to give him good suggestion and how we can do all these things by good knowledge, by our hard work, by our focus. So all those things we have to focus on. So what we have discussed, all these was getting to the structure of a practicing firm, or we can say how to become a good practicing professional. Now, if we talk about the structure, so definitely there are the guidelines in the institute, there are the practicing company secretary law also, which we have to follow. Like if we are a company, we are having a company law, companies act, same like we are having the laws and guidelines of the ICSI here, which we have to follow. But those guidelines, those things we can study in the book, but the things which we are discussing today, definitely we cannot study in the book because these things we have learned from our practical experience. So now the second point arises. What are the areas of work to become a practicing company secretary? What are the areas of work which encouraging us to become a practicing company secretary? What are the things which encouraging us to become a practicing company secretary? As we know, everyone want a good opportunities in life. Today, as a student, you are giving a lot of your time and energy to this profession to learn the things, to clear the exam. So the major thing came into your mind, what are the work, what will we gain in the future? Because as we know, money is not everything, but money is something. So how we will gain that? We will gain that by our professional knowledge, by doing the assignment. Then what are the area of work which is assigned to us as a practicing company secretary? So let's just discuss some areas of work under company law. First thing I would like to say, company secretary is not restricted to the company law. We are working in the company law. We are working in the security law. We are working in the insolvency and bankruptcy law. We are working in the GST law. We are working in the taxation law. We are working under labor law. We are working in intellectual property rights. We are working in different fields. We can be a registered valuer also. So there are a lot of fields as a practicing company secretary, and all those things are allowed as a profession by the institute. We can work as a certified corporate social responsibility practitioner also. So we can say after 2013 Act came into effect, the work and a lot of works and areas has been open for the practicing company secretaries. As right now on the tips I have discussed 8 or 9 laws on which we can work. These are the just name of laws. Under that, there are a lot of work. Like first, I would like to discuss about the company law. What are the area of work under company law? First and the foremost, I would like to discuss under section 204. That is secretarial audit. We as a company secretary, we are the secretarial auditor of the company. We have to work as a secretarial auditor for the companies. As a secretarial auditor, the concept of the secretarial audit is the first time introduced in Companies Act 2013. In Companies Act 2013, it is discussed that which companies are required to get a secretarial auditor. If you study the section 204, every listed company and a company belonging to class of companies like public companies having paid up share capital of 50 crore rupees or more, public company having a turnover of 250 crore rupees or more, or every company having outstanding loans or borrowings from bank and financial institutions of 100 crore rupees or more. All these companies are required the secretarial auditor. So as a secretarial auditor, we are having this position in this corporate world. We as a secretarial auditor, as we discussed, listed companies are required secretarial auditor. Public companies with some limits require secretarial auditor. Private companies with some limits require the secretarial auditor. As a secretarial auditor, we have to do a lot of things. Like I will just give 5 minutes to discuss with you what are the things we have to do as a secretarial auditor. As a secretarial auditor, we have to check the compliances of the company law and all the laws applicable to the company. We don't have to check the compliance of company law only, even we have to check the compliance of all the laws applicable to that company. For an example, you are an NBFC registered company. If you are an NBFC company, you have to follow the company law. You have to follow the RBI guidelines also. If your company is listed, you have to follow the SEBI law also. If your company is the insurance sector, you have to follow the IRDA Act. So for that, these different type of laws you have to check under the secretarial audit, because secretarial audit is not only limited to the company law, it is limited to all the acts applicable to that company, whether it is a GST, whether it is a taxation law, whether it is a labor law, whether it is a basis code, whether it is a post act. So all these things are applicable under secretarial audit. To become a secretarial auditor is definitely a big thing for a company secretary. If you are a secretarial auditor for a big company, you have a big brand value to become a secretarial auditor. But foremost thing, you must have the good knowledge of the laws, because you have to check all the laws for to become a company secretary. Second thing, as a practicing company secretary, certification of e-form MGT, certification of MGT 8 under section 92. Under section 92, some companies are required certificate from the practicing company secretary. A company secretary in job definitely cannot sign that certificate. That certificate can be signed only by the practicing company secretary. Annual return filed by the listed company or a company, whether it is a public or private, having paid up share capital 10 crore or more, or turnover rupees 50 crore or more, shall be certified by a company secretary in practice in form MGT 8. So all the listed companies are required secretarial audit. All the listed companies are required certification of MGT 8 also. And for the purpose of MGT 8, whether you are a private company, whether you are a public company, if your turnover is more than 10 crore, or if your paid up capital is more than 10 crore, or your turnover is more than 50 crore, once you can reach any of the both the condition, your company is mandatorily required to get yearly certificate from a company secretary. What certificate is company required in that purpose and MGT 8? That company has complied with all the provision of the Companies Act. So without a certificate from the practicing company secretary, the companies cannot complete their compliances. It is mandatory for them to take a certificate from the secretarial auditor. It is mandatory for them to take a certificate in form of MGTA from the practicing company secretary. So we can say we are the professional. We are the professional who are checking the laws of these corporates, laws of these companies. Without certification from the practicing company secretaries, they cannot comply with their all the compliances. So it is mandatory for them to take the certificate from the practicing company secretary. Third thing, area of work, certification of the annual return. As per section 92, every company is required to file an annual return in form MGT 7 within 60 days from the annual general meeting. This form is required to file by the every company. For all the companies other than small company, this form is mandatory required to certify by a practicing company secretary. If a company having company secretary, in that case definitely the company secretary of the company can certify this form. But the companies which don't have a full-time company secretary, for those companies, we are the company secretary, we are the practicing company secretary, have to certify that form. But now one question arises in mind, which I would like to ask or share with all of you. What is the meaning of small company here? As I said, small companies don't require certification. So what is the meaning of small company? So as per the latest provision under Companies Act, from till 31st March 2021, definition of small company, a company having paid up share capital up to 50 lakh and turnover up to 2 crore rupees. With effect from 1st April 2021, definition of the small company shall be a company having paid up share capital of rupees 2 crore and turnover of rupees 20 crore. So these are the some compliances which a practicing company secretary have to do. Another compliance, another area of work, certification of the e-form. All the forms of the companies, other than small companies, each and every form is required to be certified by the practicing company secretary. We can say a lot of things are given to the practicing company secretary. They have to certify all the forms of the companies other than small companies. So if you have to certify any form, definitely you have to do a lot of work to certify this form. Because certification is nothing else, just we have to put the signature. Certification means we have checked all the documents, we have checked all the laws, we have checked all the condition of the laws and documents of the company. After that, we are certifying that whatever document attached with this form, whatever provision follow for this working, and whatever mentioned in this form is as per law. There is no issues under these things. So we have to be very particular of these things, because a single wrong certification can make us liable for a lot of penalties and make us liable for surrendering of our degree. So while we are certifying anything, while we are auditing anything, we have to be particular, we have to be very focused on that thing by doing that one. So as we are discussing about the area of practice, we have discussed about the secretarial audit, we have discussed about the certification of MGTA, we have discussed about the certification of MGT 47 or other form. Except that there are a lot of things also which as a practicing company secretaries are depend on us. Like one of the most important thing is that as a consultant, work as a consultant is a very important, because as a practicing company secretary there are a lot of, we can say, expectation of the clients from you. Just as first one is one expectation we have discussed, like whenever there is an amendment, the client is expecting from you that you will tell him what is the effect of those amendments on their companies, on his company or her company. Second, whenever there will be anything, the client will call you and discuss. He will take your consultancy in everything. He can ask anything anytime. So you have to work as a consultant under Companies Act also. Then one of the major things in Kenya hand is the drafting of documents. As we have studied about the drafting in our study modules also, so this drafting will help us in lifetime, because as a company secretary, we have to draft a lot of things. We have a good drafting skills. Like we have to draft the petition, we have to draft the documents for the company, we have to draft the minutes, we have to draft the different lot of documents. So we should have a good drafting skill in us. Except that whenever there is anything in the Companies Act, we will be there, we are there, and we have to work with the corporates. So there are a lot of things, lot of area of practice in the Companies Act, like CSR professional. As we know, from 22nd January 2021, it is mandatory for the companies which are falling under the CSR limits to spend on the CSR. So we can be a CSR professional also, registered valuer. As per Companies Act, whenever there is any valuation is required under Companies Act, that can be done only and only by a registered valuer, by not any other person. So it is mandatory that valuation should be done by the registered valuer only. Who can be the valuer? We practicing company secretary can become a registered valuer also. Definitely we have to give the exam for that, we have to study for that, but we are eligible to become a registered valuer. There's a very good scope to the registered valuer in this profession, in this corporate culture. Next, registered secretarial auditor, we are a registered valuer. We can be a insolvency professional. As per the insolvency bankruptcy code, we have two type of major work. One, we can be an insolvency professional. For that, there should be experience of 10 years. Second, we can litigate the matter as an insolvency professional. We can help in the drafting. We can help in the due diligence. So there are a lot of things under insolvency and bankruptcy code. So there is a very good scope for the practicing company secretaries in the insolvency and bankruptcy code also. And one of the important work which we are having under Companies Act as a representation in National Company Law Tribunal and National Company Law Appeal and Tribunal. We are the company secretary. We are allowed to represent before this tribunal. We can present before this tribunal for the merger matters, operation and mismanagement, insolvency matter, revival of companies, compounding, condonation. We are company secretaries are allowed to represent us before the National Company Law Tribunal and National Company Law Appeal and Tribunal. So we can see as a company secretary we are having a wide scope of area of work to represent before NCLT. We have to study the case. We have to understand the law. We have to interpret the law. We have to draft the petition. We have to represent ourselves before the tribunal. So we are having a good scope of work. If there is a merger, we have to first study the documents of both the companies. If there are more than two companies, all the companies, we have to prepare the petition application according to that. We have to represent the client to the court. So these are the what we have to do. Next thing, there is a section 450, 400 companies that is relating to the adjudication. Adjudication is done by the ROC. When a default is done by a company, ROC issues a notice for the adjudication. We as a company secretary can represent the companies. We as a practicing company secretary can represent the company before the registrar of companies, before regional directors. We can represent the company before the different authorities also. So I would like to say, from my practical experience, from the legal experience, I can say there is a big scope of work for the company secretaries under this law. So I would request, or I will motivate to all of you to become a practicing company secretary, as there are a lot of area of work. We have to choose our area of work, we have to choose our interest, and we have to work in that manner in corporation of companies. As we know, India is working for the ease of doing business, make in India. So a lot of companies, lot of foreign investment are coming in India. For that purpose, we have to work for the incorporation of company. Not only incorporation of the company, as a practicing company secretary, you have to work on the FEMA compliances also. You have to done the compliances under FEMA. Like you have to advise on the foreign collaboration. You have to give advice of the setting up of the subsidiary companies in India. You have to advise on the setting up of the joint venture in India. You have to advise on the establishment of the branch offices in India. I just discussed one single example. If we are saying we are having a good knowledge, I must just discuss the one example. If we will discuss about just incorporation, there are more than 10 type of incorporation under Companies Act: public, private, listed, NBFC, producer, nidhi company, insurance company, foreign company, subsidiary company, branch offices. So there are more than 10 type of only incorporation of companies. So you can say how big scope of work we are having. We are having a company law of 470 section which are having lot of things. So we are eligible for the compliances of the FEMA also. If any foreign investment is coming in India, we are eligible to do all the compliances. If any investor is coming, we have to do a lot of compliances. So a lot of things are there. Like I discussed, we are the advisory work. We have to do the advisory work under Companies Act also. Under Competition Act. Under competition law, we are allowed to appearing as authorized representative before the Consumer Forums, Competition Commission, advising companies on dealership agreement, trade practice, sales promotion scheme, marketing and sales campaign. So lot of things on which we can work under Companies Act. As a practicing company secretary, we can work under the FEMA Act, appearance before different regulators. We as a company secretary can represent before the National Company Law Tribunal, National Company Law Tribunal, Central Government, that is Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Regional Director, Registrar of Companies, Consumer Forum, SEC, Appellant Tribunal, Securities Appellant Tribunal, Custom Authorities, Income Tax Authorities, Appellant Tribunal, Central Electricity Regulators, Telecom Dispute Settlement, Appellant Tribunal. So you can say there are a lot of regulators before them we can represent. Reserve Bank of India. We have lot of things to do. For that, definitely, we have to do the hard work. We have to be dedicated. We have a good knowledge. We should be good learner. We should be good listener. We should be good reader, good interpreter. So all those things we have to do become a good practicing company secretary. But if we become a practicing company secretary, there is a big scope of work is waiting for us. We can work as an intellectual property right. We can work under as a trademark design for the copyright, for the IPR. We can work for a different certification like food license, different licenses. We can work for the food license also. So we can work as a ICSI license. EPF, lot of things are there. We can work as a GST practitioner. We can work as a goods. We can work under goods and service tax. We can work as a under income tax act. So there are a lot of things. There are a big scope of work. So why I'm discussing this with all of you? Because you are the future of this profession. You are going to be a company secretary in future. At that time, you have to take the decision. You want to become a practicing company secretary. You want to become a job. If you want to become a practicing company secretary, there are a lot of areas of work for you. So you have to choose your right area of work. You have to do things for that work. You have to do the hard work, because as on that there is no limit of work. The only thing how you do the thing, when you will do the things. So for that you have to make up your mind. Definitely everything is require a good knowledge. But as a practicing, or sorry, as a become a company secretary, you are learning a lot of things. If you start to plan your things from today, if you start to take decisions from today, it will help you to make a good future. So we are doing hard work since long. Now there are some years, some months we have to do more hard work, and then we become a good professional. As a practicing company secretary, as a good professional, good practicing company secretary, we are having a good reputation in market. Once we become a company secretary, we know we can represent ourselves with the honor, with the respect. Yes, we have done something. We are professional. So these are the area of work. I'm not saying these are the only area of work. There are many more area of work under for a practicing company secretary. We have discussed out of them just some works, but there are still a lot of other works also. Like just giving the name, we have to advise the client on the private placement of securities. We have to advise the client on the IPOs. We have to advise the client on the compliances of a listed company. We have to advise them how to list a company. We have to advise them the structure of the management, structure of the company. A lot of things we have to advise them. But for that purpose, definitely we should learn the thing. We should become a good practicing company secretary. So now the third thing which we should learn from today's this session, that is how to do the things. We have discussed some things like we have discussed about the structure of the practicing firms. We have this area of work. So we have discussed these two topics. Now the third topic, how to do the work, how to do these works. So I will discuss some little things with all of you, as definitely you have to do work, a good work in future. For the good work, to become a good practicing professional, one thing we should know, one thing we should learn properly, that the thing is that how to do the things. Because we have discussed the structure, we have discussed the work, but now how to do the thing, how to serve the client in a better manner. Because we are having knowledge, we are having good skills, so we get the client also. And we will, with our knowledge, we will do the work. But how to serve? First step of everything is knowledge. Second step, the skills to get the work. The third and the foremost step, how to do the work. I'm just going to discuss the mechanism, which some mechanism which we are using while serving to our client. As we know, every company has to prepare the minutes of meeting. As per section 173, every company, other than small and OPC company, is required to hold at least 4 board meetings in a financial year. And for the small and OPC, at least 2 board meetings in a year. For those 4 meetings and 2 meetings, we have to prepare the minutes. A lot of things we have to comply, like we have to comply the secretary standard for the board meeting. We have to issue the notice. We have to issue the notes to agenda. We have to issue draft resolution. We have to hold the meeting. We have to get the attendance sheet signed. We have to check the proper quorum. We have to check whether the resolution is getting passed properly. We have to check how to appoint the chairman. We have to check how to draft the minute, whether draft minute is circulated, whether any observation from director, whether final minute is circulated, whether final minute is signed. So lot of things we have to do just for a meeting. If we hold 4 meeting, 5 meeting or 10 meeting in a year, after 5 year or 10 year or after a year, you have to check on which date you have passed this resolution, in which year you have to pass which resolution. Then how you will check that? Whether you will open each and every agenda or minute to check whether this resolution is passed in this meeting, which resolution is passed in which meeting. That will be a very big task for us to find out when we pass those resolutions, when we have discussion on that part. So for that purpose, we have prepared a mechanism. This is just our internal things which we have prepared. Maybe different people have prepared the different thing, but I'm just discussing an example of that. If you are preparing the minutes, then what mechanism you can follow. Maybe you can prepare better than this, but this is just one example. If you are preparing the minutes, if you are preparing the details of the meeting, so this can be one mechanism. Under this structure, first you will mention the name of company, then you will mention the financial year for which you are preparing this sheet. Now you can see there are a lot of columns in this sheet. We have bifurcated this board meeting. After every meeting details, we have bifurcated them by like this. So what information we have to mention? Serial number. Because as we know, as per Companies Act, the meetings of the board of directors should be serially numbered. So we can control that serial number from here. Date of notice we have to mention, because as we know, we have to give notice, 7 days clear notice. Date of meeting, mode of meeting, whether meeting through video conferencing or through non-video conferencing mode. That also we can mention here. Day of meeting, time of meeting, place of meeting. These information we can mention here. So in future, anytime we have to check anything, I must say we will not lag. We will have a good things in our hand. We will have a easy to access the information. Because so many times it's happened, just client will give you a call. Yeah, I need the date of this resolution. And you will be panic at that time because you may have to open the 100 of minutes to find out the date of that resolution. But you have adopted this type of mechanism, you will be very happy and you will be very quick to provide the information to client. Like after that, we will mention the number of agendas in that meeting. After that, you have to mention the number of agendas. Sorry for the interruption. So like we have mentioned these information. After this information, we have to mention name of agenda. What are the agenda of our meeting? Like appointment of chairman, leave of absence, appointment of any director. For I'm just taking like hypothetical examples, obtaining of loan, investment of funds. We will mention all the resolution, all the agendas passed in this meeting here, and we will give them number. So in future, whenever you have to find any agenda, you just have to open this sheet, which is prepared for a financial year. You just have to give a control F signal, and you have to find out the resolution, and you will easily find out that resolution. Along with that, you can mention more information also, like name of chairman, present directors, auditor, shareholder, the director, auditor, shareholder, invitee, whoever is present in that meeting, you can mention the name of such person here. Who was absent from that meeting? Date of circulation of draft minutes, date of signed minutes, date of circulation of signed minutes. If any form filed in that meeting, if we have done any agenda, you can mention serial number for that. So these all information you can mention at one place. If you will mention all those information in one place, it will help to secure your future. It will help to provide the qualitative service to the client. As the topic assigned to me is today is to how to serve the client. So this should be the mechanism. This should be the way to serve the client. So by this way, I must say you can serve him better quality. Even not only quality, if you follow this way, you can work for the quantity of client also. Because if you want to big, if you want to grow big, if you want to do big, you must have the mechanism first. You first have the checks first. Until unless you don't have mechanism, until unless you don't have checks on your thing, you cannot do the big things. So we make sure to do the big things. You must give the quality service, and you must have the good mechanism. So we have discussed the first type of mechanism which we are using. Now let me discuss the second mechanism. First sheet we have discussed about index of meetings, how to maintain the index of meeting, how to jot down all the information of the meetings and all the information of the resolution at one place. Now you can see the second sheet. This sheet we prepare for the form filing sheet. In this sheet, you can serve the client by this way. Whatever form the company is filing during the year, you can mention the name of that form. Particular means purpose of that form, why you are filing this form, date of resolution or event for this form, due date of filing of this form, what is the actual date of filing of this form, if we have filed, what is the SRN for that, UDIN. As a practicing company secretary, if we are certifying any form or any document, we have to generate the UDIN. So for that UDIN, you can mention here also, so that it will help you to remember in future whether you have generated a UDIN or whether you have forgotten it. Signing a professional, your name that you are signing it, how much fees you have paid. If you have paid the fees, file the form after due date, you must have paid the additional fees, total fees, and if you have any remark. So by following of this mechanism, I'm not saying you have to prepare the exactly same sheet. I'm not saying you have to follow this only, but I'm just giving some examples, some practical example to you. Because it's happened many times. If we are listening any seminar or listening any webinar, if we just show a presentation and we read that, we will not understand that. So that's why if in today's session, if I will just speak for 1.5 hours and go, you will not learn anything. That's why I'm just showing some practical way to do the thing. If you will follow this practical way, I must say you will never get any lack in your in profession time, because by this mechanism you can have a good control over your work. You can provide the good quality to your client, and if you have control over your and you're providing good quality to the client, then you can retain that client. But by following of the mechanism, by following of the some processes, you can serve to the quantity of client also. Even you can provide the quality to that quantity of client. So these things you have to be very focused while working in the future. So next one more chart I would like to discuss. As you can read the name of the chart, applicability of the Companies Act 2013 based on limits. As we are the student of the Company Secretary Institute, we are reading the corporate law, company law on the regular basis. There are a lot of provision under Companies Act which are applicable company to company basis, because there may be different criteria. Some are applicable on the basis of the paid up share capital of the company. Some are applicable on the basis of the turnover of the company. Some are applicable on the basis of the net worth of the company. Some are applicable on the basis of the net profit of the company. Some are applicable on the basis of the number of employees. So there are different criteria to check which compliance is applicable on which company. So as we are discussing about the practicing company secretary, as I'm again and again saying, as a practicing company secretary, we don't have to serve only one company. We have to serve a lot of companies. So every company is having a different paid up capital, different turnover, different net worth, different profit. So how to keep in mind every time what are the compliance applicable on which company? So this is a very important thing to understand, which compliance are applicable to which company. To understand that thing, we must aware about all the limits under Act. It may or may not be possible for every time to keep in mind all the limits of the Act in our minds, all the limits. Because as I will say, there are almost 20 limits I am covering in my checklist. There may be more than 20 limits also. So it is not possible, I must say, it is not possible every time to keep in mind all the limits. Because sometimes it happens we are having a limit in mind, but that limit may be changed by amendment, because they are the regular basis amendment of Companies Act, and we may forget about the limit. Like sometimes we interpret the turnover with the net worth with the turnover. So all those things can mess up the things. So for that purpose, now first thing, we cannot unlearn all the limits. Second thing, we may having hundred of clients, thousands of clients. So how we will keep remember the limits of the Act plus turnover of all the clients, net worth of all the clients, net profit of all the clients. Definitely we cannot learn that thing altogether. So for that purpose, I will discuss one more sheet how to learn their net worth and that. But if we are having the data of their net worth, their profit, their turnover, how to find out which compliance are applicable on them. So for that purpose, you can prepare a mechanism like this. I am again saying this is just an example. It's not like that you have to follow this only. You can prepare better than us. You are the new generation. You can prepare better than this. So you can say in this we have mentioned, for an example, XBR. Applicability on which company it is applicable, non-applicability on which company it is not applicable. So now we will prepare this sheet on the basis of the company, and we will mention here whether it is applicable to our this client or it is not applicable. So whenever or anytime we have to check what are the compliances applicable to my client, we don't have to rush here and there. We just have to open a single sheet and we can check what are the compliance applicable to every company. Simple like that. Certification of annual return, as we have already discussed about the MGT 8 as a scope of work. So we have to check whether our company required a certificate from the practicing company secretary in form MGTA. So we have to check this limit. Whether our company is a listed company, with our company having the paid up share capital 10 crore or more, turnover 50 crore or more. If we fall any of the provision, we will mention here yes. If our company is not falling here, we will mention no. Like I will just discuss the independent director. Now I have to check whether independent director is applicable to my company or not applicable. So I have to check these things, whether my company is listed or not. If my company is listed, I have to mention. So as we are discussing about the limit chart, and as I have shown you my practical way of working, so these type of things are actually very helpful to us to gain the knowledge, or we can say this type of thing help us to, again, I guess I will say one thing, to retain the client, to gain the confidence. Because if we are having the good checks, if we are having the good checklist, then we will be confident that yes, we are providing a quality service to our client. Even we are having a quantity big client, still we are providing them the quality service. So you can say here we have covered a lot of points like key manager personnel. All the listed companies, if my company is listed, I will mention yes. Every public company having paid a share capital of 10 crore rupees or more. If my company will be public, I will mention here yes. Every private company having paid a share capital of 10 crore or more, my private company having 10 crore, I will mention yes. So these are the things we have to check. These are the provision applicable to us to check whether we have to comply this provision or not. Because as we know, definitely there are a lot of compliances which are not applicable to us. There are a lot of compliances which are applicable to us. So we have to take the decision which compliance we have to do, which compliance we don't have to do. And that is possible only in the situation. That is possible only in the situation when we have the good knowledge and good checks. Good knowledge is definitely required. But with our good knowledge, we definitely require the good checkpoints. We definitely require the good controls. I will use the word control for this. We should have a good control over the things. Because if we are having the good control over the things, that will help us. That will help us to, we can say, provide the best qualitative services. Why I'm discussing this again and again with you? Because today this topic is provided to me to make everyone of you to understand how to serve the industry. So this is the one of best way to serve the industry in today's scenario. When we are having the regularly changes compliance, when we are having the amendments in law, when we are having the lot of limits. So with all these amendments and everything, if we will work on this method, definitely we will gain something. We will gain many things in our profession. Like I was saying, limits. In the limits we have seen, if something is dependent upon turnover, sometimes compliance is dependent upon the net worth, sometimes compliance is dependent upon the paid up capital. To get the to get the quick and the updated knowledge about the status of our companies, we can prepare this type of list in which we will mention the name of company at the end of this year or at the end of last year. They are seeing their date of incorporation, their authorized capital, their paid up capital, their status, their address of registered office, branch office, main object, their free reserve, their security premium, their turnover, their net worth. It will maintain this sheet. Then on the quickly basis, every time, whenever we require, we can get the information about the company. Whenever we require, we will get the information about the company, everything. According to that, definitely we can check whether which compliance is applicable to our company and which compliance is not applicable to our company. So we can prepare this type of sheet. Even in this sheet we have mentioned from which document we can get this information. Detail of the composition of director. We can mention here name of director of the company, his designation, whether he is the promoter or not, date of appointment, change in designation if anytime happen, date of cessation, DIN number, address, residence status, whether employee of the company. If we will maintain all those things at a single place, so definitely we can say this all thing will help us to control over the compliances. And once we have knowledge of the compliances and the control over the compliances, no one can beat us. By this type of control, by this type of mechanism, we can say we are having as over other professionals, we are better than other professionals. Same like shareholder list, detail of the shareholder, name of shareholder, their status, whether they are individual or corporate, number of shares held by them during beginning of the year, percentage of shareholding, number of shares at the end of the year, and percentage of shareholding. Reason for change, why their shareholding changed, whether by transfer, whether by allotment, whether by buyback, whether by reduction. Whether beneficial owner of share is different, whether they are having any beneficial owner of that share. So if we can prepare these all type of information at one place now, we can say we can never get any disadvantage. We will always get advantage over other professionals. So we should understand all these controls, like composition of committee. We know there are different type of committees applicable on the companies, and composition of that committee is also very important for us. For that purpose, we have prepared this list. So we have prepared a lot of this type of list of controls. Definitely, sometime it may happen if we are feeling, if we are preparing this sheet are the bothersome, this sheet are the burden to us to prepare. But definitely it may be burden at one place, but it will give you a lot of benefit in the future. In the future, you will always get gain and gain and gain. So definitely you have to follow this type of processes to get a better knowledge in the organization, to get the better knowledge for the future. I will discuss one more checklist, then I will discuss some other. So one more thing I'm going to discuss here. It is just for example, I'm showing this sheet. There can be 100 of the sheets like this. Like this sheet, we have prepared checklist for appointment of a director. If you want to appoint a director, definitely you have to read the law. You must have knowledge of the law. But once you grow big, it is not possible to do each and every work by yourself. You will build up your team. You will work in a team. You will create the associate. You will get the training. So you must have control and checks for that, so that no one will do any non-compliance. So for example, I'm just going to discuss this sheet for the 2 minutes. Appointment of director. First, we have to ask this question: will the company appoint any additional director? Whether the company regularize the director on AGM and AGM. For example, you are going for an audit. For that audit, you have to ask this question to yourself that whether that company have appointed any director, or whether they have appointed any additional director or regular director. If the answer is yes, then what process they are follow? Whether proper notice of meeting has been given, whether proper agenda of the meeting contain points regarding appointment of additional director has been attached with the notice. Check proper board resolution passed by the before appointment of such additional director. Whether board resolution has passed with the majority of votes. Whether the proper minutes of the board meeting has maintained. Whether the company filed e-form DI 12 within 30 days of the board meeting which additional director is appointed. Then about regularization of that additional director. Whether proper notice of the general meeting has been sent to the members. Whether members' resolution passed in the general meeting. Check whether they maintain the proper minutes of the general meeting. Check whether the company filed e-form DI 12 within 30 days of EGM in which director is appointed. Other compliances. Check whether the one person appointed additional director has been allotted the director identification number. The person to whom they have appointed the director, whether that person has used the director identification number. Check whether the person proposed to appoint an additional director by the company in the board meeting, otherwise shall furnish his director identification number. Whether the person also given the declaration that he is not disqualified to become a director. Because if a person is disqualified, he cannot appoint as a director. To become a director, a person should be non-disqualified. Check the person has been appointed to hold the office of director before the company furnished his consent in writing. As we know, it is mandatory to appoint a director to get their consent in e-form, consent in form DI 2. So check whether we have received that. Check whether the company within 30 days of appointment of director. 30 days of appointment of director. File such form with the registrar of company, that is DI 12. check whether the person appointed give disclosure of interest in other entities. So by preparing these type of list, we will never miss any compliances, because if we will prepare this list, we will definitely comply with all the laws, all the conditions. So these type of lists are very helpful to us to understand the law in future, to save us from the non-compliances. Because when we become a big, when we are serving to the hundred of clients, when we are working on hundred of things, we must have knowledge and controls in our hand. So these all are the type of things, how to serve the clients. Now, as we know, as a practicing company secretary, you have to register yourself with the Institute of Company Secretary. You have to obtain the certificate of practice. When you have obtained the certificate of practice and registered with the ICSI, there is a concept of the peer review of your firm. Every 5 years, ICSI, through its peer reviewed authenticated authorized person, will done the peer review of your firm. So for that peer reviewed purpose also, you must have proper control. So a person professionally come to check the review your firm work, they will get as yes, you are working in a proper manner, you are having a proper control. If you are maintaining the document, definitely you will get as yes, you are maintaining the document for a proper manner or a long time. So if a successful peer review will provide a comfort, we can say comfort to your practicing unit that you have adhered the various statutory, documentary and other regulatory requirements. If you are a peer reviewed unit, then you are authenticated that you are adhering the various statutory compliances of the law. If deficiency is noticed in and corrective in your peer review, then that professional will suggest you some we can say measure to get out of those deficiency. So this will help you and provide you an opportunity to correct the deficiency and learn the new things. So there are a lot of things which are applicable on a peer review, which you have to understand, which you have to learn in your life. And as we have already discussed about the structure of a practicing firm, as we have already discussed how to become a good practicing company secretary. For the structure, you may have the partners, you may have the employees, you may have the trainees, you may have the colleagues, you may have the associates. So these are the things which you can use to become a good practicing company secretary. Because now I will conclude in 5 minutes. My session will not take more than 5 minutes. So as we can say, as we discuss in today's session, we are having a lot of areas of work. We are having a lot of ways to do that work. Now it's depend on us and our interest in which area we want to work, in which area how we want to work, how we want to serve the client, whether we want to quality service, whether we want to only quantity services, whether we want to grow big with compliances or want to grow without non-compliances. So I would suggest everyone to you, and I would say best of luck to all of you to become a good practicing company secretary in future. To become a good practicing company secretary, just I will repeat in 2 minutes. Please be dedicated to your work. Give time on the regular studies, and I must say do hard work and give proper time to your assignment and client. Proper time means proper knowledge, proper interpretation, use the proper interpretation, proper check and balances. So all those things help to become a good practicing company secretary. So hope I have justified with the topic, and after this session, the perspective will be clear in your mind that how a practicing company secretary work, what are the area of work of practicing company secretary, and what are the things we have to understand. Thank you so much.